worrying about making them perfect, making it look good, making it, no one's going to buy if it's not the best looking DVD cover out there. And honestly, most of it was a waste.
And this was all before you saw if the market was interested.
And most of it was before I saw the market was interested, or before, another thing too that I made a huge mistake, I never gave them something to buy for a long time. I went and spoke at different conferences. I gave people away some free training. I never actually came up with a product or even a service for a long time, for like a couple months into it, and I could have been making money through the process. And I didn't, because I just thought, I need to be totally prepared. I need to be the expert. I need to have everything prepared before I start. And don't do that. In fact, sometimes you can even get them ready and purchasing before you even fully have the product, or even have the product, even to test it out. One of the biggest mistakes I did is about 40 hours of video training for the travel industry. And that was before the deal had gone through. I had a six-figure deal. It was more money than they were going to buy me out with all the trainings. It was more money than I'd ever made. This is actually kind of cool. This is a cool story. It took me 8 weeks to complete the whole idea of how to trainer, because I went through your coaching course. And about a month later, I got offered to get bought out for quite a bit, high six-figure, like mid six figures, and more money than I ever seen in my life. I went on vacation, was future projecting it, but again, I didn't expect. You kind of got to expect the unexpected, and the travel market went down. The company couldn't do it, and it devastated me. But the biggest thing is to keep going. Like, there are going to be things that happen, and that taught me so much now that I can use and implement in the businesses that I do now.
Yeah, and at that time, you had every single reason to go, this doesn't work. I'd spent all this time and effort, and had you done that, you wouldn't be where you are now.
Yeah, and it's all part of the learning process, and I mean it was terrifying. I think another thing that's really hard that is being alone, or can be a lone process. No one knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I highly suggest, and I know that you get with a mastermind group. It's so amazing to be able to talk with people that actually know what AWeber is, or that you can actually make money online, or even anything that you talk about, or even just go to a meetup. There's a lot of really great meetups out there that are just nice to know that there are other people sitting at their house or at home or in their office doing the same, trying to do the same things that you are. That helps, because it can be kind of lonely, and as little failures happen or things you test out, you kind of get attached to them. So I think one big thing is not to get attached emotionally to them, and just kind of put them out there as tests. And as things happen, you just keep evolving, keep getting better, and start small. I would start right now, even if you're working full time, take an hour, 2 hours a week, and start going through the Internet Business Mastery Academy, and just go, I'll mentor people where I just tell them to go every 2 weeks, go through one of the modules, do the action steps. Within 2 to 3 months, you'll have a business running that has a product, and why not? What if it does work?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think you just shared the second key to the internet marketing kingdom there, and that is, it's the just get started, fast action, get in there and do it. But then the second thing that you just said is it's associating with the right people, or in other words, having the right relationships.
For sure.
As I think back, it is those moments where I went and found a meetup or a mastermind that, when I found a mentor that those relationships, you got to have them in the forms of masterminds and or mentors and or partners. It makes complete sense to me when I think back to my evolution as an entrepreneur, and when I was able to quit my job, it was shortly after I found a mentor. And one of the reasons that Internet Business Mastery has progressed so well is because I have a partner that I'm constantly working with on that, and then we support each other and move each other forward. And when one's down, the other one can, pick up or whatever, and you hold each other accountable. And then that comes with mentorship and partnerships and or masterminds. And otherwise it is very lonely. And if I didn't have those relationships, I'd still be, I don't know, probably by now, I mean, I hate to say it, who knows, maybe I would have gotten back and gotten a job, or I don't know, just not as progressed as far at the very least. I don't think I would have gone back and got a job. I wouldn't say that much, but
well, here's a tip too. Even when I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah, I went to meetup.com, and I was still able to find internet business and even small business groups that got together. And that's how I first started meeting people, was through meetup.com. And now, even still to this day, especially here in San Diego, there's a lot of meetup groups for the internet world. I could basically go to 1 or 2 a week easily if I wanted to. And there is one that I go to each month, an internet business meetup group. But yeah, meetup.com, that's a good place to start if you're brand new, so that you can sit with a group of people who are actually fascinated when you figure out how to use Aweber correctly, or any of these other things that any other human being that doesn't do internet business would be bored to tears to hear about.
Yeah, and I think too, you got to be careful, because just about everyone out there doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And so just about every one of them is pretty negative initially. I still have people to this day who think I'm absolutely crazy. Like, what are you doing still at home? And, gave up good jobs and things like that. I get to kind of pick what I want to do, and I just kept going, even though it wasn't always the most glamorous of things or always the funnest. I knew that eventually it was going to turn out into the lifestyle, which is a big piece, the lifestyle design that I was looking for, and the flexibility. And so be aware that they're for sure going to question what you're doing, because they don't even understand it. It's taken my parents years to actually, they've always supported me, but to actually understand what's going on, to be able to say, oh yeah, you got to keep going in this. And they're now the ones that say, oh no, you can't, you got to try that idea. No, you can't stop.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And my dad has a blog. I mean, it's crazy. My dad has a blog. He does Camtasia. He's got YouTube videos that he's doing now. He's a college professor, and we just are setting him up with a virtual assistant this week.
Oh, nice. See, now you're changing people's lives. I love it. It just spreads. It's so cool. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
So. Yeah.
Well, you've already shared. I mean, maybe you've kind of answered this too. I mean, clearly it's impacted your life, but maybe you can give us a couple other examples of how internet business has. I mean, you're a long timer. You've been listening to us for since the beginning. How's your life changed in that time? How has internet business impacted your life?
I mean, immensely. I got to, when I first got to meet you guys, I mean, honestly, the only reason that I even went into this realm, I didn't even know about it, and I've always been a computer guy, but was because of you guys. And literally, I mean, I read now a lot of blogs, and I look at a lot of stuff, but there is nothing better out there, 100% hands down, than your guys' training, and the training even that you give away for free in the podcast, that is just amazing. And then all the actual steps in the academy. I've gone through and I've listened to every podcast, but I've gone through the academy at least 5 times, and every single time I'm about to do it again. Anytime I come up with an idea, that's the process that I'm going to go through. It's totally changed. The only reason I quit my job was because of the ideas that you guys kind of put into my head, and it takes a while to get that mindset.
Yeah, the unemployable corruption mindset.
Yeah, bad or good, and it did. It took a couple years where I was really like, I have to try this, because I will completely regret it if I don't at least give it a try. And I don't necessarily suggest that you completely quit your job, and I think it's totally doable to test out and try to run some of these things while you're doing something else. If you have the luxury to do that, then I think you learn it quicker. But I also think you can do it part-time. But I have the flexibility to, go eat lunch with, with my fiance. I have the flexibility to, we'll go play Frisbee golf once a month. There's all kinds of the things that I can do. I do marketing for other company. I mean, there's so much now that I have flexibility to work on and do, and I'm still not quite exactly where I want to be for the future, but I'm moving towards that and learning more every day. And I mean, there's so many ideas and opportunities that come up on a daily basis, and until you kind of start thinking that way, you realize how many opportunities you miss just because you were just kind of thinking about your next latte instead of how can